Alright, let's get started on web development, web design, HTML session. Mm, Open session. Yeah. HTML session. Okay, great. तो मैं था यहाँ पे 5.3, the exercise 5.3 was finished, right? Let's get to chapter 5. Okay, चल भाई, चलेगा नहीं. No, स्क्रॉल ही करना पड़ेगा. स्क्रॉल लॉक. Here we are, just there, right? Okay, 5.2. Okay, right. Okay, so first add all the document, then add all the document structure HTML, give the document the title back. The first thing we'll do is intensify the top level heading and list of. Okay, the first thing we'll do is identify the top level heading and list of all link as the header. Thing we'll do is identify the top level heading and list of links as the header for document by wrapping them in a. Don't forget the within the header, the headline. Okay, within the header, the headline should be h1, and the list of links should be ordered. Yeah. Don't worry about making the list items links. We'll get to their linking in the next chapter. Give the list more meaning by identifying it as a primary navigation. Right. Okay. Now the blog page has to post some items and mark each one as article because they can be presented elsewhere. Now we'll go to the first article into shape. Let's create a header for the article that contains the heading h2 this time because we've moved down the hierarchy. Right, h2 down the hierarchy. Then end the publication information p. Identify the publication date for the article with the time element, just as you did here. The content after the header is clearly a simple paragraph. However, the menu has some interesting things going on. Okay, the content after the header is clearly a simple paragraph. Okay. It is divided into two conceptual sections: appetizers. So mark those as sections. Exceptional. Be careful, closing tag appears before the closing article tag, right? So elements are nested correctly and don't overlap. Finally, let's identify the sections with ID attributes. Name of the first one will be ID and main courses. Then with our section in place, we can mark up the content. We're down to h3, right? Choose the most appropriate list element to describe the menu items and their descriptions. Mark up list and each items within the list, right? Now we can add a few fine details. Classify each price as span elements. Now two of the dishes new items, change the double hyphen to an m dash character and mark up the new items as strongly important. Okay, classify classify the title of each dish as a new item dt up. There is no need to add a span this time, right? Use the existing dt element. Classify the title of each. Okay, right. This allows us to target menu titles with the new item class and style them differently than other menu items. Okay, new item. Classify the title of each new dish. Okay, did I classify the title of new? British. Classify the title DT. Okay, so it said hint use the existing DT element. There is no need to obviously take that takes care of the first article. The second article is already mostly marked up from the previous exercise, but you should mark up the header with appropriate heading and publication information, right? I did that. That is done here. Then I move on to so far good, right? Now make the remaining content that applies to the whole page a footer. Footer was this about about and copyright. Okay, footer, mark each line content within a footer. Let's give the location and hours information some context by putting them in div about. Make the labels location and hours appear on a line by themselves by adding line breaks. About. If you would like, you could also mark up the hours with the time element, right? Okay. Finally, copyright information is typically small print on document, so mark it accordingly. As a final touch, add a copyright symbol. Yep. Okay, save the file as CA and check your page in a modern browser. Okay, markup tip, choose element that best fits the meaning of selected text, right? Don't forget to close elements with closing tags. Put all attribute values in quotation marks to for clarity, right? Copy and paste is your friend when adding the same markup to multiple elements. Just be sure what you copied is correct. Okay, test yourself. We are not going to do that. M dash ampersand non-breaking space character just basically clenches sticks them together so that even if a new line starts the word won't break. Copy trademark. Okay, element review and all the information, self-contained content, aside tangent, sidebar, footer, related content, introductory content, primary navigation section is conceptually related of content, heading, H126, H group, we can group headings, grouping content, block quote, div, figure related image or resource, caption, text description of a figure. Okay, horizontal rule, paragraph, pre-formatted text, DD definition list, DD definition list, definition term, list element unordered, and break, word break. Oh, where a word should break. Right, phrasing, abbreviation, bold, bidirectional. Then we have bidirectional override, cite, citation, code sample, machine readable, deleted text, deleted and inserted text, keyboard text, alternative first, mark, highlighted text, right, highlight, quotation, don't care about these, strike through, sample output, small, span, generic, strong. Hey, that didn't this say anything about dev? Okay, dev, generic division, yeah. Okay, subscript, strong, subscript, sup, superscript, time, machine readable data, and variable, tension. Okay. Okay, adding links. Now we are on to new chapter. If you're creating a web page for the web, chances are you'll want it to point to other web pages and resources, whether on your own site or someone else's. Linking, after all, is what the web is all about. Okay, in this chapter we'll look at the markup that makes links work to other sites, to your own site, and within a page. Okay, markup. There is one element that makes linking possible, that is anchor. Anchor element, hypertext link. To make a selection of text a link, simply wrap it in opening and closing A tags and use the href attribute to provide the URL of the target page. The content of the anchor element becomes the hypertext link. Here's an example. The GoRiley media site will be to make an image a link. Simply put okay the image element in an anchor element. Nice, I can do that. Nearly all graphical browsers display linked text as blue and underlined by default. Some older browsers put a blue border around the linked images. Okay, but most current ones do not. Visited links generally display in purple. You're right, yeah. Users can change these colors in their browser preferences, and of course you can change the appearance of links for your site using style sheets. I'll show you in chapter 13. Okay, so anchor syntax. The simplified structure of an anchor is okay. Warning. One word of caution. If you choose to change your link colors, keep them consistent throughout the site so as to not confuse your users. Okay. When a user clicks or taps on the linked text or image, the page you specify in the anchor element loads in the browser window. The the linked image markup sample shown previously here is okay. So it loaded. Yeah. When user clicks or taps on the linked text or image, the page you specified in the anchor element loads in the browser window. In HTML5, you can put any element in an element. You can put any element in a element, in an a element, even block elements. Starting in HTML5, you can put any element in an element, even block elements. But let's say, okay, URL versus URI. All right. Okay, the W3C and the development community are moving away from the term URL, Uniform Resource Locator, and towards the more generic and technically accurate URI, Uniform Resource Identifier. On the street and even on the job, however, you're still likely to hear URL. Here's a skinny on URL versus URI. A URL is one type of a URI that identifies the resource by its location on the network. The other type of URI is a URN that identifies resource by its name. Okay. Because it is more familiar, I will be sticking. Okay, because it is more familiar, I will be sticking with the URL throughout the discussion of this chapter. Just know the URLs are a subset of URIs, and the terms are often used interchangeably. If you like to geek out, okay, I don't want to geek out. Let me will reply later. The href attribute you'll need. Let's okay. Href attribute. You'll need to tell the browser which document to link to write. The href hypertext reference attribute provides the address of the page or resource, its URL, to the browser. The URL must always appear in quotation marks. Okay. Must always appear in quotation marks. Most of the time you'll point to other HTML documents. However, you can also point to other web resources. Alright, such as images, audio, and video files. Because there's not much to slapping anchor tags around some content. The real trick to linking content is getting the URL correct. Okay, there are two ways to specify the URL. Absolute URLs provide the full. Okay, two ways to specify URL. Provide the full URL for the document, including the protocol, the domain name, and the path name as necessary. You need to use an absolute URL when pointing to a document out on the web, not your own. Okay. Absolute URL. So, okay, sometimes when the page you are linking to has a long URL path name, the link can end up looking pretty confusing. Fix 2. Yeah. Just keep in mind that the structure is still a simple container element with one attribute. Don't let the path name inti- intimidate you. Intimidate. Okay. Uh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Provide the full necessary relative URL describes describes the path name to a file relative to the content. Okay, relative to the content document. Relative URLs can be used when you are linking to another document or your own site or on the same server. It doesn't require protocol or domain name, just the path name. Okay. In this chapter, we'll add links using absolute and relative URLs to my cooking website, Jen's Kitchen. Right, 63. Okay. Absolute URLs are easy, so let's get them out of the way. An example of long URL, although it may take any side note, okay. Although it may make the anchor tag look confusing, the structure is the same. URL wrangling. If you are linking to a page with a long URL, it is helpful to copy the URL from the location toolbar in your browser and paste it in your document. Okay, right. You can avoid mistyping a single character and breaking the whole link. Linking to pages on the web. Many times you'll want to create a link to a page that you found on the web. This is known as an external link because it is going to a page outside of your own server on site. To make an external link, you need to provide the absolute URL beginning with the protocol. This tells the browser, go out on the web and get the following document. I want to add some external links to the Jen's Kitchen homepage. First, I'll link the list item. First, I'll link the list item. The food net link the list item food network. List item food network. Okay, the food network item. The food. I don't see the list item food network, but where we have this list item food network to the site. I marked up the link text in an anchor element by adding opening and closing tags. Notice that I've added the anchor tags inside the list element. That's only li elements are permitted to be children of a URL. That's because only okay. Clean side would be invalid. Nice. Okay. And voila. That's the that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Now the food network will appear as a link and will take my visitors to the site when they click or tap on it. Okay, finished. Jen's Kitchen page, all the files, the entire directory. Make sure to change blah 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 blah. Okay, make an external link. Okay, open the index.html from Jen's Kitchen. Make the list item Epicurus to a page. Epicurious. Ah, it still works. Okay, so let's start on chapter 6. Chapter 6 is adding links, linking it all together. I think it. Okay, adding links. Chapter 6 is adding links. Let's start with exercise 1 new index.html. Okay, now let's close to the left. Doc type HTML. Then we'll get some head. I'll go with metadata. Set UTF-8 and title, which is exercise 6.1. Okay, we'll go to the body and यहाँ पर the food network. Okay, go good food on the web. I'll add a list good food on the web. Let's make a article. Right, article. Should this be a article? Yeah, it should be article. Because I can show it, I can take it and move it to another website externally. Yeah, let's make an article. Then we'll start a header for the article. In the header, I feel like that's H1, H2, H2. I'll get the heading issue, good food on the web, and in the body I'll make a list, an ordered list of links href equals first I have food network. Okay, doesn't really matter. Okay, nice. And I'll say the food network. Then we'll make another list for Epicurious. And I wish to epicurious.com. Nice. Let's load up the page. The food network. Yep. Okay, and then we have Epicurious. Nice. Great. So we got that running. Okay, when you're done, you can save index.html and open it in a browser. If you have an internet connection, you can click on your new link and go to the Epicurious site. If the link doesn't take you there, go back and make sure that you didn't miss anything in the markup. Okay. Note, on PCs and Macs, files are organized into folders, but in the web development world, it is more common to refer to the equivalent and more technical term as directory. Yeah, with a cute icon, I know. A folder is just a directory with a cute icon. Okay, linking within your own site. A large portion of the linking you'll do will be between pages of your own site, from home page to section pages, from section pages to content pages, and so on. In these cases, you can use a relative URL, one that calls relative URL, relative URL, relative URL. That one calls for a page on your own server without HTTP. Okay, the browser looks on the current server for the linked document. Okay. A path name, the notation used to point to a particular file or directory, tells the browser where to find the file. Okay. Web path names follow the Unix convention of separating directories and file name with a forward slash. A relative path name describes how to get to the linked document starting from the current. Okay. Relative path names can get a bit tricky. In my teaching experience, nothing stumps beginners like writing relative path names, so we'll take it one step at a time. There are exercises along the way that I recommend you do as we go along. Okay. All of the path name examples in this section are based on the structure of Jen's Kitchen site shown in figure here. Okay. We have index and about.html here, images and recipes, then within pasta. There we go. Okay. Index, I don't see index. Okay, index, images and recipes, pasta, right? Okay, for another, when you diagram the structure of the directories for a site, it generally ends up looking like an inverted tree with the root directory at the top of the hierarchy. For the Jen's Kitchen site, the root directory is named Jen's Kitchen. For another way to look at it, there is also a view of the directory and subordinate as they appear in Finder on my Mac. Okay, right. Okay, now here important path name don'ts. When you are writing relative path names, it is critical that you follow these rules to avoid common errors. Don't use backslashes, right? Forward slashes. Don't start with the drive name on the page, although your pages will link to each other successfully while they are on your computer once they are uploaded to the web server. Right, it is irrelevant and will break your links. Don't start the file with this. This is also indicates that the file is local and causes the link to break when it is on the server. Okay. Linking within a directory. The most straightforward relative URL points to another file within the same directory. Okay. When a link to a file in the same directory, you only need to provide name of the file. Okay, when you are in the same directory, you only need to provide the name. When the URL is a single file name, the server looks in the current directory, that is, the directory that contains the document of the link. Okay. In this example, I want to make a link to my homepage index.html to a general information page about.html. Both files are in the same directory. So from my homepage, I can make a link to the information page by simply providing it file name in the URL. A link to the file name indicates the linked file is in the same directory as the current. Okay, nice. The server looks in the same directory as the current document for this file. Writing a relative URL to another document in the same directory. Exercise 6.2. Link in the same directory. Okay. 6.2. I'll just use another document. Exercise 6.2. Oh, sorry, my bad. Let's make a new file, index.html, or rather, let me just go pick it up and paste it here and open up this. Let's rename it about or I'll say Black Goose Bistro. Then I'll just quickly go here, edit this one out. I'd say let's article, this article should be a section note as article. Okay, another article is, I can make another article article where I can say say H2 looking for restaurant, so restaurant question mark H2. Then we'll go, I'll provide another list. List element href equals what is the name, .html, right? We provide the whole about.html. okay, html, then I go Black Goose Bistro. Okay, let me open this up. Black Goose Bistro, there we go. Nice. Okay, so I got that right. Open the file about.html from Genskisen folder. Make the paragraph back to the home page at the bottom of the page. Okay. Then I can just add a footer. Not paragraph really. Oh, maybe I can put it in paragraph about section. But this should be away from here and here, right? Paragraph. Href equals index.html back to home page. Now this bad boy should very good. Okay, back to home page. We get it. Okay, nice. Back to the home page. When you're done, you can save the about HTML and open it in a browser. You don't need an internet connection to test links locally. That is on your own. Clicking the links, okay, at the bottom of the page and link to index.html. The anchor element should be contained in the p element. Okay, to paragraph linking to a lower directory. But what if the files are in the same directory? You have to give the browser directions by including the path name in the URL. Let's see how this works. Getting back to our example, my recipe files are stored in a subdirectory called recipes. I want to make a link from index.html to a file in the recipes directory called salmon.html. The path name in the URL tells the browser to look in the current directory for a directory called recipes and then look for file. Yeah, right. Okay, we got that. The path name in the seg is I look for html. Okay, link one directory down. Linguini. Do I have? Let's make another. I'll go practice. Then okay, text. What is practice? Right. Okay. So I'll take this and adding links. I will add this one in practice test.html. We'll go here and Bistro index.html. What is it? Open the index.html file. Make the list item tapenade or spread. I don't have tapenade.html, but okay, I'll just add it here. Doesn't really matter. It's ref. We have practice/test.html. Then we go on test. The main motive is to test this. Let's go. I am forgetting something. Okay, equals to right. Okay, great. Then we move on to this. Okay, when you are done, link to tapenade in the recipes. Remember to nest them correctly. When you are done, you can save index and open it in the browser. You should be able to click your new link and see the recipe page. If not, make sure. Yep. Okay. Now let's link down to the file cosqs, which is located in the pasta subdirectory. All we need to do is provide the directions through two subdirectories, recipes and pastas and cosqs html. Okay. Directories are separated by forward slashes. The resulting anchor tag tells the browser, look in the current directory for a directory called recipes. There you'll find another directory called pasta, and in there is the file I'd like to link to. Now that we've done two directory levels, you should get the idea of how path names are assembled. This same method applies for relative path name that drill down any number of directories. Okay, just start with the name of a directory that is in the same location as the current file. Just start with the name and follow each directory name with a slash until you get to the linked file name. Okay, link two directories down. Link one directory down. Okay, this was supposed to be access size 6.3. Okay. Okay, Black Goose Bistro. Let's remove this. Then I have Black Goose Bistro. Okay, I'm not linking, it is the same. Yeah. Okay, linking to a higher directory. Each forward slash at the beginning of the path name tells the browser to go up one directory and look for the level up. Okay, so far so good, right? Here comes the tricky part. This time we're going to go in the other direction and make a link from the salmon recipe back to the home page, which is one directory level up. Okay, one directory up, index. In Unix, there is a path name convention just for the purpose, the dot dot slash. Okay. When you begin with a path name with dot dot slash, It's the same as telling the browser back one directory level and then follow the path to the specified file. Okay. If you are familiar with browsing files on a desktop, it is helpful to know that a has the same effect as clicking up button in the Windows Explorer or left arrow button in the. Let's start by making a link for Salmon. Alright, so I can just go 6.5. I can go here test.html. I can put footer, then within the paragraph I'll add the href dot slash index dot html, back to the home page, right? Okay, so let's open this. We go to test, we go back to the home page to this. Nice, great. Okay. Let's start by making link from Salmon HTML back to the home page in text. Because Salmon in the recipes is in the recipes subdirectory, we need to back a level up to Jen's Kitchen to find index.html. This path name tells the browser to go up one level, then look in the directory for index. Right. Note that we don't need to write out the name of the directory, Jen's Kitchen, in the path name. The A stands then for it. Great. Okay, linking to a higher directory, I have done that. Okay, we'll put blocks around it. Looks good. Good to go, right? Back to home page. Nice. Okay. What's the time? 42 minutes. Nice. Okay. But how about linking back to the home page from Couscous? Can you guess how you'd go back your way? Just use // twice. Yeah. Okay, a link from Kush HTML page back to the home page index.html would look like this. I confess to still sometimes silently chanting go up a level for each when trying to decipher a complicated relative URL. It helps me sort things out. Alright. The first backs up recipes, the second backs up the top level where index.html can be found. Again, there is no need to write out the directory names, it does it all. Alright. Okay, I'm not doing that. Site root relative path names. All websites have a root directory, which is a directory that contains all the directories and files. Alright. So far, all of the path names we've looked at are relative to the document with the link. Another way to write a relative path name is to start at the root directory and list the subdirectory names until you get to the file you want to link to. Okay. This So far, all of the path names looked at are relative to the document with the link. Okay. Document with the link. This kind of path name. Another way to write a relative path name is to start at the root directory and list. Right. This kind of path name is known as site root. Alright. In the Unix path name convention, the / at the start of the path name indicates that the path begins at the root directory. The site root relative path name in the following goes: go to the very top level from the directory and then search for whatever. Find the salmon.html file. Okay. Note you don't need to and you shouldn't write the name of the root directory Jen's Kitchen in the path / and the browser will look in the top level directory and the browser will look in the top level directory relative to the current file. From there, just specify the directories the browser should look in. Right. Because this type of link starts at the root to describe the path name, it will work from any document on the server, regardless of which subdirectory it may be located in. Site root, site root relative links are useful. Okay, site root relative links are generally preferred due to their flexibility. Nice. Site root relative links are useful for content that might not always be in the same directory, or for dynamically generated material. They also make it easy to copy and paste links between documents. Right. On the downside, however, the links won't work on your local machine because they will be relative to a hard drive. You'll have to wait until the site is on the file to check that links are working. Ah, okay. It's same. It won't work. Sure, it won't work. Okay, if I go root.html, it would not work. Test. Okay, yes, ma'am, you are right. That is on me. Okay, so we go root slash recipes. Okay, root slash recipes. Yeah, okay, this is wrong. It's same for the images. The source attribute in the image element works the same as href attribute in the anchors and when it comes to specifying URLs. Right. Since you'll most likely be using images from your own server, the source attribute within your image elements will be set to relative URLs. Let's look at a few examples from the Gems Hidden site. First, to add an image to the index.html page, the markup would be right. The URL says look in the current directory. The URL says look in the current directory Gems Kitchen for the image directory. In there you will find okay. Now the pstay resistance. Let's add image to the file. Say now let's add an image to the file. This is a little more complicated. Okay, we go up a directory, then we go another upper directory, then okay, we go to directory back, and then in that directory we go to images and spoon. This is a little more complicated that we've seen so far. The path name tells the browser to go up 2 directories to the top level, and once there, look in the image directory for the spoon.gif. Of course, you could simplify that path by going to the site root relative by going the site root relative, in which case the path name another exists. The trade-off is that you won't see the image in place until the site is uploaded to the server, but it does make maintenance easier once it's there. Right. Okay, before we move on, oh, you may want to try your hand at writing a few more relative URLs. No, I don't want to. Okay, there was note a little help from your tools. If you use a authoring tool to create your site, the tool generates a relative URLs for you. Programs such as Adobe Dreamweaver and Microsoft Expression Web have built-in site management functions that adjust your relative URLs even if you reorganize the directory structure. Okay. Note any of the path names could be site root relative, but write them relative to listed document for practice. Okay. What is we have 10 minutes, right? Okay, so linking to a specific point in a page. Point. Did you know you can link to a specific point in the page? This is useful for providing shortcuts to information at the bottom of a long page, scrolling page, or for getting back to the top of a page with just one click. Yeah, nice. Linking to a specific point in the page is also referred to as linking to a document fragment. Okay. linking linking to a linking to a particular spot within a page is a two-part process. First, you identify the destination and then you make a link to it. In the following examples, I create an alphabetical index at the top of the page that links down each alphabetical section of a glossary. When users click the letter H, they'll jump down to the page, the H heading lower on the page. Jump on the page, the H heading lower on the page. Okay. Then you create a link to it. Okay. Fine. Identifying the destination. I like to think of this step as planting a flag in the document so I can get back to it easily. To create a destination, use the ID attribute to give the target element in the document a unique name. Okay, that's unique in the way only appear once in document, not unique as in funky interesting. Okay, in web lingo, this is fragment identifier. To the top. It is common practice to add a link back up to the top of the page when linking into a long page of text. This alleviates the need to scroll back after every link. To the top. It is common practice to add a link back to the top of the page when linking into a long page of text. This alleviates the need to scroll back after every link. Right. Back to the top. You may remember the ID attribute from chapter 5, marking up text. You may remember the ID attribute from chapter 5, marking up text, where we used it to name generic. Yeah, here we're going to use it to name an element so that it can serve as a fragment identifier that is the destination of a link. Here hash start each ID, we use the ID. Okay, here the destination of a link. Okay, I provided an ID heading H linking to a destination PFJ. Linking with the identifier in place. Now I can make a link to it. At the top of the page, I'll create a link down to the start H fragment. I create a link down to start H fragment. As for any link, I use the A element with at the top of the. I'll create a link down for the start H fragment. I use the A element with href attribute to provide the location of the link. To indicate that I'm linking to a fragment, I use the octothorpe, also called a hash or a number symbol before the fragment name. Okay, and that's it. Now when someone clicks on the H from the listing at the top of the page, the browser will jump down and display the section starting with H heading. Fragment names are preceded. Okay, right. So identifying the element H, then we have the backend. It just okay. It will jump to this position. Right. Okay. Note: some developers help their brothers and sisters out by proactively adding IDs as anchors at the beginning of thematic section of content within a reasonable level and depending on the site. That way people can link back to any section in their content. Nice. We still got 6 minutes, dude. Okay, linking to a fragment in another document. You can link to a fragment in another document by adding the fragment name to the end of the URL. Right. Ooh, that's some funky shit, man. For example, to make a link to the h heading in the for example, to make a link to the h heading of the glossary page from another document in that directory, the URL would look like this. Okay, glossary.html is the glossary letter H. So you can even link to specific destination in okay, so you can even link to specific destination in pages on other side by putting the fragment identifier